All right, we live, we live. Let's see. Let me see if I could get, I'm gonna try and work on the lighting. It's a little dark. Let me see if this works. A little better. There's one more option. I think this is still dark. It's lighter, but it's still dark. All right, so this is a better, probably a better option. Draper Scott, what up, bro? I'm just trying to get the lighting down. Anybody just coming in? Let me see if turn it. No, I guess not. I guess we'll leave it as it is. It's cool. All right. So let's dive into this. So if you have read the title, I went ahead and said that I'm going to touch on these particular topics or questions. One thing that I did in my last stream, if anybody tuned into my last stream, what I did in my last stream is I went ahead and I didn't train today. I actually had to take the day off because I got some other stuff going on, and then I'm gonna set up my training for tomorrow. So actually gonna start back tomorrow. My wife is actually at the gym now. She just asked me too if I was coming out to train, and I was like, nah, I gotta take a day off and actually try to see if I could help my body recover, because I work overnight shifts, and this is also a question I'm probably gonna get into one day. What is it like living an experience where you work an overnight job in comparison to working your average 9 to 5? All right, that's a different question, different day. But let's talk about what we're gonna cover today. So what we're gonna cover today, I thought it was real helpful as far as like along the lines of what people want and expect. How much muscle can I gain and what to expect? So that's a big question, particularly for the guys, but I think it applies to women just the same. And I say that because as a female, females never want to get big and bulky. They know and understand if they know and understand that there's a climax to the amount of muscle that they could actually build, they would actually have more intent on actually getting there and sustaining that high level of muscle, instead of them actually saying, hey, I want to put down the weights because over a period of time, I might get too big. You always hear women talk about getting too big. That could actually be the case only if a female is not comfortable with the size that she gets to, the bigger size that she gets to. If she's not comfortable with that, then yeah, you would have to do something to kind of have her see her muscles go down or something like that. Something that changes from the image standpoint. Would you say your body type is symmetrical? No. My body type, no. What I think is what I know actually is I have an imbalance. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera or exactly how it is. Sometimes it'll be in my clothing. If you look at both sides, especially how the tank tops sit on my right and left traps, it'll be different. I not only know that my two sides aren't symmetrical, but I also have an injury, particularly on my right side. It's actually my bicipital tendon, which travels from the clavicle bone down through the front deltoid, travels into the bicep and on into the forearm. And if you get that particular injury, which is most likely going to be related to tendonitis, which is what I have a chronic case of tendonitis, which just does not go away. In most cases, tendonitis usually plays out for a period of time. Can't even tell you how long, because every individual, depending on the severity of the injury, will tell how long it takes for that person to recover. So I won't really say how long you actually need to wait in order for you to see your recovery take place. But for me, I've had the injury take place in 2017, and I'm still battling the same injury today. And what it does is it restricts me from having the ability to lift heavy, and it also restricts me from having the ability to lift for long periods of time. So my stamina, endurance, and strength have been almost diminished, or it was for a period of time when I first received the injury back in 2017. And what I did is I kind of nursed it from beginning stages. I could not drive. I could not, it wasn't comfortable to brush my teeth. It wasn't comfortable to shave my head. Y'all can see what I look like without my hat. I just got a bald head. So I usually take the time, do the little razor deal, And that actually was strenuous for me, something that I couldn't actually maintain, just keeping my arm up above my head. If you look up, if you look up what's done when this injury actually takes place, it's usually taken care of through either a surgical procedure or waiting for a long enough period of time. Well, I waited 5 years and I'm not going to do surgery. So I have to kind of nurse it as best as I can. And usually the case is that I work with very, very lightweight, very high repetitions, and also focus on a very critical diet that actually works in my favor and helps with the injury. I could touch on that on a different video at a different time. If anybody is interested, I think it is the number one injury that most males face because it hits the right or left front deltoid. And usually we face that when we do our bench pressing. All right. So to answer your question, Draper Scott, no, I think my body is not symmetrical from the left and the right. I also learned that when I competed back in 2011 and 2013, both competitions, when I seen the pictures and the videos, I was actually able to see that, no, my body's not completely symmetrical, and all I can do is possibly work on creating some kind of a balance between the two sides. It does play on me and work on me because when I lift anything involving like a bar, I could feel a difference between the left and right side, not only from the injury that took place, but just in general, for whatever reason, my body over time seems to have developed differently from the left to right side. But let me go ahead and dive into these questions. I don't want to play on too long because we got a lot to cover and a lot to get to. Can a guy have perfect symmetry? I think so. If you check out bodybuilders in general, what you would see is the case for most of them is this: they're most likely perfectly symmetrical. What ends up being the case is what you may notice is your muscles. So you have muscle insertions that are on both sides of your body, and you may notice that they may differ from the left and right side. So to answer your question, I'm gonna answer it in two ways. Symmetrical could work in two different ways. Like my bicep, I'm not even sure if you could see it on the camera. It needs the right lighting. But what ends up happening, or what ends up being the case, is my bicep has a cut. There's a cut in the right lighting. You could see that there's another cut in my bicep. So what ends up being the case is like I have a bicep almost on top of a bicep. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. So you see the little cut right there. You see like there's a bicep right here, and then there's a bicep almost on top of it. So between both sides, my left side has it more. It's more pronounced than the right side. So I look as if I'm somewhat symmetrical, but if you look more in detail at how the insertions are, you would see that there is a difference between the left and right side. Now, for most males, you're gonna be born that way. I could also show you, I don't have shorts on, but if you looked at my quadriceps, it's the same case. My left quads look better than my right. My left quads, you could actually see the quadricep muscle. You see all four insertions where all the quadricep muscles end and meet. But on the right side, it's not necessarily the case. It just looks a little bit different. You could clearly tell it's the same body, but you could also notice that it's somewhat not the same on the left and right. So yeah, so it's good that you could actually see that, and you'll see that that'll play out not only in the bicep, but it'll be in the shoulder. You'll have certain insertions on in your muscles in different areas, and it'll differ from left to right. All right, but let's get into this. So what we want to cover today, we want to cover how much muscle can I gain and what to expect, how many times a week, or can I work out once a week and see the results that you're looking for, whatever your goals are. And then I have another one: if my diet doesn't go as planned, should I work out? All right. Some of these questions you're gonna see, they'll tie in with some of the older questions. One of the older questions that I had a couple days ago was if I mess up on my diet, what to do next. All right. So I give you a good spill of a bunch of different things you could do if your diet doesn't end up turning out the right way. But now this question actually drives in on, should you go work out? Let's say you blow your diet, you have cupcakes, cookies, and donuts. Some people might say, yeah, I want to pull up to the gym ASAP. Some people might say, oh, let's just take today off and let's start back fresh tomorrow. Which one is best to do? I'll talk all about that. Draper Scott says, I work out 2 days on, 1 day off. Yeah, that's usually the best routine in order to continuously see all the benefits that you usually get from working out. and also keeping your body from not resting too long. That's what will happen if you were on for 2 days on, 1 day off. It'll give you the ability to get in, do what you need to do, and then have your 1 day where you rest. And when you rest, that's when your body really takes the growth process. It will start when you actually are in your resting stage. So let's talk about the first question. And then we'll talk about the vitamin of the day, the supplement of the day, and all that stuff. So how much muscle can I gain and what to expect? So this particular one is more so for the guys. And like I said, it ties into the females because it's something that you want to be knowledgeable of. And that is that you do have a max amount of muscle that you can actually achieve. There is nobody out there that's actually going to step up to the plate and say, I'm 180 pounds. And next week or 6 months from now, I'll be 185. 6 months from then, I'll be 190. 6 months from then, 195, and keep the numbers going up. At some point in time, you will stop, regardless of how much more weight you actually lift. So you could keep lifting more weight, more weight, more weight. And what ends up happening at the end of the day is you will develop strength, but you don't necessarily develop more muscle mass. That muscle mass will only be what your body's genetic potential gives you the ability to have. So if your genetic potential says that you could have 22-inch arms, 34-inch legs and stuff like that, then that's going to be the genetic makeup that you need to expect. All right. So when it comes down to your expectations, I'm not trying to put a damper on anyone's goals or anything like that, or anything that you have on the table. I want to encourage you to get out there, push it to the max, do the best that you possibly can. But you need to also be mindful that if there's a guy in the gym, if there's a picture in a magazine, if there's something that you're craving for and you want to actually go towards that particular result, you say, man, I like this guy's chest, I like this guy's arms, that is what I want, I need it. Doesn't matter how long, I'm willing to actually stick it out and wait until it comes. But some of those people end up waiting forever. All right. They wait forever, and they wait all the way up until a point where they actually say to themselves, man, you know what? I'm never going to get these results. I've been working at it for the last 2 years. My diet's been on point. Everything's been all the way up to par, but I'm still not seeing the results that I anticipated when I seen this picture and I just started my weight loss journey or my muscle building journey. That's why I'm actually making this video. That's why I actually put this question together, because this is a very helpful tool or advice for people to hold on to when it comes down to it. You have a max amount of muscle that you're going to gain. For some people, then they'll end up gaining 20 extra pounds of muscle, 20 more than what they usually sustain throughout the year with a normal eating regimen, not really working out. They'll usually sustain a certain amount of weight, go higher or lower. That give or take amount will usually elevate up to 20, could even be 25 pounds. Some individuals might be able to even pack on 30 pounds. For some people, depending on the genetic makeup, you could even expect 35. You know what I mean? I actually, at some point in time, started my weight loss, my muscle building journey at 170 pounds. When I was 170 pounds, I worked my way all the way up to I was somewhere around like 205, 210. So you're looking at 30, 40 pounds. Now, out of all of the pounds that I've actually accumulated, not all of it was muscle mass. Some of it was actually in the area of body fat. So that's also something to consider, but you also do want to acknowledge that you're not really spilling with body fat all over the place. It's fine-tuned and it's very little to none. It's still there, it's present, but it's not anything that really makes you say, no, I don't really think you're gaining muscle. It looks like you're gaining more fat. No, you were clearly able to see that I gained a lot of muscle over that period of time. How much would I say that I've built up? My scale is going to tell me one story. What I like to do is I like to take the numbers that my scale says and use it as foundation. So if it says, hey, see, your results say that you have 140 pounds of muscle, and then I weigh again in a few weeks, and it says that I have 145 pounds of muscle. I don't think the amount of muscle that it's actually saying that I have is a realistic amount. It could be close, but it's not something that I would actually go by, especially for the simple fact that my scale is digital. Digital scales tend to be very finicky when it comes down to something as simple as you just drinking water. If you drink some water, step on the scale, your results will immediately change all around. Your body fat, your weight, your muscle mass, your hydration, everything's clearly going to change. And it's never in a positive direction. It's usually downhill. when you actually do those type of things. So for me to actually zero in on my digital scale and say, because my digital scale says that I built up 140 pounds of muscle, this is a number that I'm going to stick with and count on every single time, I find that not to be all the way true. What ends up being more truthful to me and what makes more sense is if I actually take how much or where I was at when I originally started, and then take where I end up at the end of my journey, or when I decide to weigh and call it, the final weigh-in. That is when and where I will be, or I'll be able to decide how much muscle I built. The only thing that I'm going to take into consideration is how much of a difference that I actually changed. I'm not going to say, hey, I went from 140 pounds of muscle on August 3rd, and now today I'm at 200 pounds of muscle, or whatever that is. I'm not going to end up doing it like that because, again, the numbers on a digital scale will not be as accurate as you probably like them to be. It's a great way or source of foundation that you could actually use, but the way to use it is exactly how I'm describing here. Just take the difference. So what ended up happening for me is my muscle would dip down into the range anywhere between 133 on the pounds per body weight, somewhere around like 175, 180 pounds. It would say like my muscle mass is like 133 or 134. And then I managed to work that muscle mass all the way up. Kept working on it. I got it to go as high as like 156. So I knew to take into consideration that it's probably a give and take anywhere between 20 pounds, little more, little less. And that'll be the number that I need to take into consideration as to how much I actually built over time. All right. So when you're talking about muscle mass, how much you need to consider and think about actually building, each individual will be different. But what you need to know and keep in mind is that you will have a max amount that you can actually achieve. Okay. Nobody's going to be 200 pounds of muscle. And if they work really, really hard and do everything 100% the way that it's supposed to be done, they'll break off with 80 pounds of muscle in like 10 years. It just doesn't work out like that. You're going to hit a max, and it doesn't matter how much more weight you throw on the bar or how much more extra you do inside the gym. It's not going to help you to build an actual size. It'll help you to build in more of an internal strength. So you'll be able to work with more weight, but you're not going to necessarily notice that your arms are building up to this bigger amount or bigger size. When you actually want to see more size, that comes with a little extra package. All right. That package, you might call it steroids, you might call it supplements, you might call it whatever else you want to call it, but you will hit that max. And when you want to break that barrier, it'll usually involve something else added to the equation. Like I said, supplement, steroid, something to kind of push you past your natural limits. Let me see. You right, bro. Work out 2 days on, 2 days off. You're on point. Yeah, thanks, Draper. I've been 190 for 20 years. So if you have any people that have, kind of maintained a certain weight for a period of time, what you need to look into is the lifestyle. The lifestyle usually dictates if a person is able to maintain weight over such a long period of time, such as what you're talking about here. I've ran into a lot of clients and seen that be the case time and time again, because what usually happens when I run into certain clients is what they'll mention to me is this is the first time they've stepped into a gym. They've never seen a gym before, and sometimes they could even be 40, even up to 50 years old. Sometimes I get 60-year-olds, and they've never stepped foot into a gym. And what they noticed over time is they'll have a little cheap scale at the side of their tub or whatever, their bathroom, and they'll probably get on there ever so often. And over the last 10, 15, maybe even up to 20 years, like your case, they notice that their weight really doesn't change much at all. Or if it happens to change, they may notice that there might be a slight increase or decrease depending on what they have going on. What I would actually do is I would look into your lifestyle, see what you have going on. If you're concerned with your weight and you're not all that happy with 190 pounds, something to consider is looking at your lifestyle, how many calories are taken in and how many calories are going out. What you're managing to do, and I know your body type is also going to help work in your favor with all of this. What you're managing to do is you're managing to maintain those same calories consecutively for days on end. What ends up happening is the result that you're seeing here, your weight actually won't change. And I've seen this be the case, like I said, for a lot of clients, and even a lot of close family members and friends have talked to me about this also being the case. And they'll have give or take days that it'll actually go lower and higher depending on their activities that they might do throughout the day. Nah, bro, I'm cool with it. And I'm a former sprinter. Oh, okay, cool. So if you're good at the 190 pounds, then definitely I would stick with that. But if you ever consider actually building any kind of muscle, working with a caloric surplus is my best advice that I could throw out without knowing any other details or anything else that you have going on. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. I don't want to take too long on each one of the questions. I want to make sure I get into each one in detail. Anybody in the chat, feel free to leave me any questions or anything that you want to talk about or chime in on as I go through it. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how many times a week is too little to work out. All right. Can you get away with 1 day a week? And I'm going to make it, I know I only talked about the days, but I'll be nice and I'll also talk about the times. All right. Because that's something that's very important. We could simply say, yes, you could see good results if you make it into the gym 1 time a week. That's completely fine. But is it okay if you only commit to like 10 minutes, 5 minutes? So if you were to ask me, it's going to depend on the goal. All right. At the end of the day, it depends on your goals. If your goal is to lose weight, I need y'all to know and understand we do not lose weight in the gym. It happens, but that's not where we actually anticipate making it happen for the most part. You losing weight is going to take place from what you actually eat. It's all about calories in to calories out. All right. I need you to understand that when you show up to the gym, when you show up, your body is going to do all types of different things as you work out. All right. You do have the ability to tap into fat stores during your workout as long as you set your body up accordingly. But a lot of people stay fixed on the fact that they want to lose weight and lose body fat in the gym. But mind you, when you're in the gym, you're only in the gym for like 1 hour, 1 hour period of time, or an hour and a half, or 2 hours. What if you were to open up your body's availability and allow it to burn fat for 22 hours out of the day, along with the 2 hours that you put into the gym? So you burn calories through your sleep, you burn calories all throughout. That'll usually take place if you're lifting weights consecutively all throughout the week. So to work out just 1 time is actually making that effect happen for maybe anywhere between 24 and up to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours if it takes your body that long to recover. Usually that's the case for any type of muscle breakdown. So when you consider, hey, what if I can only get into the gym once a week? Yeah, you make some of the magic happen, but the magic will only happen once. All right. It only play out for the next 24 to 48 hours. Whereas if you were to work out consecutively all throughout the week, you not only will burn calories and fat while you're in the gym, but you'll also open your body's availability up to burn calories for the other portion of the day, which is the rest of the day, not only while you are in the gym. All right. So that's the idea that you want to keep in mind. If you were to work out more times throughout the week, it would definitely help you get closer to your goal. But the big question is, can we hit our goals? You know, because some people say, well, look, I can't get in the gym as many times. Doesn't matter what you say or do. I just cannot get in that many times. I can only do once. Am I going to hit my goal? Yeah, you're going to hit your goal. Even if your goal was to build muscle, you still stand a chance of actually making that happen. You actually will open up your body's availability to build a lot of muscle, because if you only break down so much muscle and you give your body the next 5-6 days to recover and repair, the chances of you actually building on bigger, stronger muscles is highly likely, because for the average individual that gets into the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week, they burn up a lot of their calories that they consume in their workouts. But the person that's resting 6 days and only working out 1 to 6 days that he's off, as long as he controls his calories and takes in the right amounts, he opens up his body's availability to fully repair to its max potential. Now, is that something that you always want to do? It just depends. If you have that individual that can only make it in once, I'm just trying to give you some advice that won't necessarily discourage you. It'll actually encourage you to keep doing your 1 time a week and work at it as long as you possibly can, up until you eventually hit a point where you could go 2 days, because that's where you want to end up. You want to end up at 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and so on. You don't want to stick with the 1 time, but I'm just giving you the benefits of 1 time and the pros and cons. All right. The con is you're just not really making the magic happen all throughout the week like you possibly really, really want to. The pro is that you do give your body the ability to recover to its fullest potential because you're actually resting for 5 to 6 days at a time, which is what your body desires. That rest is when and where your body's really going to make the most change actually happen and take place. All right. So if you happen to only be able to work out once a week, don't be down and out and discouraged. It does have its benefits. You just got to work with whatever you can at the moment, but over a period of time, you want to work your way up to 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5 days. If your time is not long enough in the gym, let's say you only get in there, you say, all right, well, look, I'm only going once a week, but in that once a week, I'm only going to do 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, your intensity is going to have to be so high. You got to make sure that intensity is so high. That 10-minute workout needs to actually feel like a 30-minute workout. You need to be out of breath, panting. I don't care if you need to sprint for 10 minutes or if you need to do the highest interval training you possibly know for the 10 minutes time. But if that's the only duration that you have to work with, you're going to want to make sure you push your body's heart rate and potential to its highest degree just within that 10-minute time frame. And that's all you got. That's all you got. For the rest of the week, the next 6 days, you need to make sure calories in, the calories out, meet the demands. And that'll open up your body's availability to continuously lose weight. And if your idea is to build muscle, you also have that opportunity as well. All right. Message retracted. I want to know what that means. Draper Scott, 6'1", 190 pounds, 31-inch waist, 45-inch chest, 17-inch arms. All right, you're working with something. Can't do a push-up to save my life. Any tips you can give me? That's funny because today's exercise of the day is push-ups. So what I'm gonna do, Adish, what I'm gonna do is I will give you some ways that you could actually do your push-ups. I'm gonna give you the regular push-ups, so I'll show everybody that's on the advanced level, and I'm gonna also show you a modified version. The modified version is what I encourage. The modified version is what most people could do. I think you do the modified version when you get up every day. All right. If you're in your bed and you're laying on your stomach and you have your knees down on your bed and you push with your arms and you push your way up, that is one push-up. As long as you can do one, that's good money. All right. At that point in time, if you can only do one, then that's what you need to work with up until your body is able to do two, and then you just progress from there. But over a period of time, what you're meant to do is just progress from wherever you are currently. All you need to do now is set up foundation. The foundation can actually be, hey, let me go ahead and watch the modified version of a push-up. I'm going to see where I stand. Can I do one? Can I do a half? Do I go down a quarter of the way? Whatever that is, you're going to look to see where you currently stand and look to progress over a period of time in the near future. All right. But we'll dive into that. Push-ups is actually the exercise of the day. So it's a good thing that you actually jumped out with that. Hopefully you can stick with me through the whole stream. The exercise of the day is what usually comes at the very end. And if you can't stick around, just come back. You know, it is what it is. So I think I have one more question. So I think I touched base with the answer to that one. Hopefully I've answered it to its fullest degree. I don't lift heavy. Draper Scott. So Draper Scott, I have an actual video that I'm looking to put together about lifting heavy. I personally don't lift heavy, not only because of my injury that I described early on in the stream, but I've never really lifted heavy because my body type actually doesn't allow it, in my opinion. I come with the body type with a lot of muscle insertions, like you see from my deltoids to my biceps to my triceps, my chest and everything like that. What ends up happening with this type of body type, we always pack these small wrists. All right. At the end of the day, when it comes down to lifting heavy, I'll just start a little bit of advice before I touch base with the next question. When it comes down to lifting heavy, you want to be mindful of things like your wrist size because it gives you a good idea of the type of weight that you probably want to go about lifting. All right. What you see when you see World's Strongest Man and stuff like that, bro, these boys come out with wrists as thick as my forearm. You know what I mean? Their fingers are fat, they're big, they're large. When you look at their ankles are swollen, they're big. That's the body type that usually is able to bear these large amounts of weight. For us, what ends up being the case, if you pack a physique such as mine and what I think Draper Scott is describing here, is we actually are able to bear large loads of weight. But what ends up being the case is we feel it, not in the muscle, because we're able to rep it out. We'll rep out our 4 to 6 reps. We'll do our 1 rep max easy. But when we really feel it is the joints, the ligaments, and the tendons. Because what we got to be mindful of is as the muscles progress in strength, it doesn't necessarily mean your joints, ligaments, and tendons will carry on at the same speed. They might not grow as fast. They might not be able to bear whatever it is that you're lifting, whereas the muscle is able to do it, but everything else isn't. This is when and where, if you are a smaller individual, such as myself, I'm not a world's strongest man, but if you pack in a body type like mine, you'll slowly notice that the heavier you go, it'll actually work on you in a negative way because it starts to tell on you in your joints, your ligaments, and your tendons. And just like the advice that I gave you a few minutes ago, you do have a max potential on the amount of muscle you're actually going to build. So if you have a max potential on the amount of muscle you're actually going to build, what is the reason for going heavier, 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 and heavier all the way to the point where you're now risking injury occurring to your entire body just because your ligaments and tendons can't really bear that weight? So that's the idea that you want to keep in mind when you think about lifting light, heavy, or moderate. Now, I'm not saying to lift light. I do not lift light. I lift a moderate amount of weight that works hand in hand with the goals that I have at stake, okay? If you lift light, you can't count on very many benefits lifting light. It does not work in your favor, all right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to work with a moderate amount of weight to lift. Now, everybody's asking, then I got to get to the next question. I'm going to fill y'all in with this little piece of advice. Everybody's going to say, well, how do I know what's moderate? How do I know what's moderate? This is how you figure it out. When you actually set up your goals will dictate a rep range. Your rep range will dictate what your goal is, all right? So you might say, I want to get chiseled. I need to reduce as much body fat as possible. Well, I'm going to say, all right, well, you need to make sure your rep range is anywhere between 12, 15, and even up to 20 reps will be okay on most exercises. So now that you have an idea of what your rep range is, you say, all right, well, I'm going to sit down and do some push-ups, for example. And when I do those push-ups, my trainer, or when I sat down and created my workout routine, which I advise everyone to do if you want to be successful, you sit down, you create your routine, you say to yourself, all right, well, I've mapped out 20 repetitions as the target rep range that I need to aim for every time I do this exercise. Now, how do you know when it is enough weight? Let's not use push-ups because it's hard to add weight. Let's use bicep curls. It's easier to kind of talk about it. So if I use bicep curls for my example, right? I actually advise 20 reps. Let's just throw it out there. Let's say 20 reps. If the weight is a moderate weight and something that I need to be working with, you will be able to lift it anywhere between 10, 15, and up to 20 times. If the weight is too heavy, I just dealt with wifey, same thing. She said in the gym, she got out there, she started lifting the weight. She said, I think it's too heavy. I said, can you do 15? She said, oh yeah, I could do 15. I said, well, the weight is not heavy. The weight is along the lines of what we consider to be moderate. Now, if you feel like the weight is a challenge, that's good. The weight shouldn't be impossible, all right? You don't annihilate the muscles, you stimulate the muscles, all right? That's how you make them grow. You don't annihilate them. Don't get under the bench and try and put up so much weight that you only ended up with a 1 rep max and you walk out the gym holding your arm and shoulder and all of that. Not where you want to be, all right? You got to work where the body is actually going to allow you to kind of give and take a little more weight, and it doesn't cause this major stress on the body and tell on you again in your joints and ligaments. So when wifey actually told me that she's able to lift the weight 15 times, I said, well, when we can't really call that heavy weight. I said, now we need to take another thing into consideration. Can you do 3 sets? She couldn't do 3 sets. So she couldn't do 3 sets of 15, 15, 15. She ended up doing 15, 15, and 12. So she fell short. And that's where she was like, yeah, I told you it was heavy. I said, no, it's not heavy. I need you to understand that heavy weight is when you're working with a max rep range of 4 to 6. That means if you're hitting a bicep curl and you're on the 6th rep, you're pulling it. This is how you hit 6, okay? If it's heavy, and you hit 15, you out there repping it out. 6, 7, 8, and you start to notice that as you get closer to 15, it starts to burn. You start feeling the fatigue. It starts to work on you. That's a challenging weight. That's a moderate weight. That's what I work with every time I go to the gym, because that is the type of stress that your body seeks in order to make the proper and necessary changes if you're looking for body composition change in the area of muscle mass, or if you're looking to reduce your body fat. That is when and where it's going to happen. All right. So when you start to think of heavy and moderate weight, don't think I need to go heavy in order to build muscle. Okay. You'll see throughout the research and study that has been done, it has now been shown that if you get out and you actually work with a moderate weight and work with your body's the intensity that your body responds best to, you'll see the most and best results. When you get under there and you try to crank up a bunch of weight and go with those short rep ranges, anywhere between 4 to 6, I'm not saying to not do that, but you need to focus on that if that is your goal. If your goal is to get the highest bench press, or you want to increase your 1 rep max, feel free to go down that route. But if you're looking to maximize muscle, look good when you hit the beach, look good when you go to the gym, look good when you put on your clothes, it's better done working with a moderate weight, working with a rep range anywhere between 10 to 15, could even escalate up to 20. That's usually okay. And that's when and where you're going to see the best results. All right. So I'm just putting it out there. I got off on a long tangent about heavy and lightweight. So back to the show. What I actually had on here is I had, if my diet doesn't go as planned, should I work out? All right. So that's a big question that a lot of people come across. And I think for a lot of people, they may not take it in the right direction. It depends. If your diet doesn't go as planned, should you work out? Now, what does that mean that your diet doesn't go as planned? Does that mean you actually just stepped out the box, ate a little donut, and now it's not really all the way as planned? Does your diet not going as planned mean that you were supposed to bring protein shake, your grilled chicken, your fish, and your vegetables to work, but you left it all at home? Is that when your diet goes outside of the normal plan? Or is it just the simple fact that you just say, man, forget the diet. I've been dieting the last 5-6 days. Now I'm ready to at least just have something a little outside the norm. You have it, and you feel guilty about it. And you're like, well, what do I do? Should I hit the gym, or should I just call it a day and start fresh in the morning? Let's talk about it. So I'm gonna just tell you off top. I go with my schedule. If I'm supposed to hit the gym at 7 p.m., I'm gonna hit the gym at 7 p.m. regardless of the direction of my diet. It does not matter. Once I learned about intermittent fasting, and I learned that I could show up to the gym on an empty stomach, and it actually gives my body the max ability and potential to burn fat. Once I opened up that door, it steered me down a different path. We got kids and family. So once I did that, it steered me down a different path. Hold on. Hold on real fast. How's everybody doing? All right, I'm on the live. I'm gonna finish up the live in a few minutes, and then I'm gonna get to everybody. I'm about to cook something for the people, just so y'all know. Train of thought. Let me try to regain it. Hold on. Oh, so that's what I was saying. So yeah, so if I'm destined to work out at 7 p.m., I'm gonna work out at 7 p.m. regardless of what the case, whatever's going on. When I explored the options of fasting and learned that I could actually end up in the gym under different conditions, empty stomach, full stomach, light on my stomach, and I could still work out, that's what gave me that idea that it didn't matter what was really going on outside of my actual workout. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the gym regardless. All right. That's the best advice that I could actually put out. Do not get discouraged if you mess up the diet and turn around and say, I want to start fresh tomorrow. Because what could end up being the case is you'll carry out that same excuse more often than you actually want. All right. You'll end up finding out that is the go-to for a lot of issues that you actually come across when it comes down to you working out. All right. Or dropping your workouts if your diet actually messes up. So my biggest advice to everybody out there, don't worry about the diet if it gets out of whack. Just focus on what you're doing in the gym and push through it. Just don't expect your performance to be all the way where it would usually be if you ate all the foods that you usually do, okay? If you missed a meal, or you missed 2-3 meals, or you chose donuts instead of your grilled chicken and rice, then yeah, you might find that your rep ranges might be a little short, something along those lines. All right. I don't want to stick on it too long. We got family in the building. I want to keep it moving. We do have a little bit of cooking to get into. I'm gonna still try and make that happen, just as promised. We're just gonna do it with the family in the building. All right. So I'm also gonna have to read this out to y'all because I did say to myself that I would get into like the vitamin a day and stuff like that. I did look at the quality of the video that I actually did when I actually did the share screen and stuff like that. So I looked at the quality, and the quality wasn't all the way up to par like I wanted to be. The quality of the video was a little glitchy, and I feel that whenever it gets glitchy, it might not give y'all the ability to hear exactly what I'm saying. Let me see if let me see if we could keep it moving and get over to the food. All right, so y'all check out my pot. I'm starting to sweat. I think the house is hot, man. All right, so y'all check out my pot. This is what I got going on. I'm actually gonna do more chicken. I think I said it in my political stream that I was gonna do a little bit of fish. I think wifey's probably gonna break out some fish in a second, so we'll definitely have some fish. I'm also gonna do some chicken. Now, what I will say that when you're actually doing the cooking part, it's completely up to you. I've done this in the past. I don't think it's a good thing. I'm not a chef, but I don't think it's a good thing. Sometimes I get real lazy and I put chicken and fish in the same pot. I don't think you're supposed to do that though, because they have different cooking times. You know what I mean? They also have different ingredients that you may or may not want to include. So just keep that in mind. That's something that I used to do all the time, just to kind of make things short and simple. I used to have like my fish in there and my chicken, but it didn't all the way work for me. So, I mean, it is what it is. You could do it if you want, but no, like I said, the cooking times are different, and you might want to sprinkle different seasonings on each one and have it, all that good stuff, whatever. Y'all know what it is. But let me get this heated up. I'm gonna walk y'all through as I do it. Remember, the way that I cook, simple, easy, straight to the point. I don't like to play around. I don't like to do all the extra seasonings, this, that, and the third. That's just the way that I do it. You feel free to chop up your onions, your peppers, and whatever else you want to include. All right. So I got my pot heating up right now. I'm gonna start breaking out the ingredients so y'all can see exactly what I'm working with. So when it comes down to seasonings, y'all know what it is. I don't really get critical or technical when it comes down to the seasonings. I try to make it as short and simple as possible. Right now I'm working with Miss Dash, garlic and herb. All right, nothing special. Just so y'all know, I'm gonna probably do like 20 more minutes. Just so you know, babe, I'm gonna do 20 more minutes and then I'm gonna stop, because I know what I'm gonna do with the cooking. I'm most likely to just get it started, and then over a period of time, all right, cool. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. So y'all see, I'm completely raw with this. I'm gonna go ahead and break out the salad. So I did say I'm gonna include some salad in the mix. Today's salad of the day, we got the spinach miso crunch. All right, what does it contain? We have baby spinach, baby red chard, carrots, Japanese miso dressing, cashews, sliced almonds, and some wonton stripes. Yo, when y'all get in the produce section, be sure to reach for the salads in the back, right? All the salads in the front are probably expired today, and they probably expired tomorrow. Y'all reach for the ones in the back. Don't tell them I told you, but just know that that's facts. But yeah, let's keep it moving. So we got the salad. Where's my chicken? Oh, right here. All right. I actually roll with chicken breast, just so y'all know the chicken costs. The chicken will cost, it'll be a different amount depending on what you go for. If you go for chicken breast, it's usually a lot cheaper. What ends up being the case with chicken breast is it doesn't pack as much flavor as your little chicken cutlets, they usually call it. The chicken cutlets are a lot thinner. That's what I did with the last video, which I thought was on point. That was on point. When we talk about the chicken cutlets, they really give the chicken all the flavor that you need. And that's more along the lines of what you want. And you want some good tasting food. And when you're doing it as simple as I'm doing it,
whatever little bit of flavor you get, you want all of it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not dropping 10 and 20 different seasonings in here and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and get this open. Y'all know what it is. We're gonna do the Pam. Let's see if I got a bigger pot. We got the Pam and everybody else. Is there no other Yo, I'm gonna have to get a bigger pot. All right, cool. So we're working with something a lot larger. We're working with the family size right here. With that being said, we'll save this for something else. What I'm gonna also do is I'm gonna take the chicken and I'm gonna cut it up. The reason why I'm cutting up the chicken is to almost give it the same effect that the cutlets have. The chicken breast cut up will give it a similar effect in regards to taste. All right, so let's do that. I'm working with. Give me a second. I probably have kids yourself. Y'all know the struggle. But let's get it. I don't want to stall too much. So nothing complicated. I know wifey be telling me I spray too much. I know. I don't know. I just feel like I gotta put the right amount. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, check this out. So I'm gonna take the chicken like this. Literally, I'll stab it with the fork, and then I'll just cut like that. The flame is low. Give me a second. If y'all didn't notice, I was short of muted. I had it muted for a second there just so we could clean up on the noise, you know what I'm saying? But we'll work it out. So now you can see kind of how I'm doing it, just cutting up the chicken, just like you see. Nothing special. Again, this is all to give the chicken more flavor, because if I were to drop the seasoning on it just as the breast itself, it usually doesn't taste as good as when it's cut up. So those wondering about the chicken, why is that my go-to? It's a lot. It's a heavier meat in comparison to fish. It's a little heavier, so it kind of sits on me longer. Also packs a punch in the area of protein. It's usually one of the healthy ones on the charts. I mean, when you consider protein from turkey, you have your chicken, your fish, your pork, your steak, stuff like that. Chicken ends up being my favorite. I don't say to do away with like the other meats entirely, but it's something that I would consider maybe once or twice a week. It's not something that I would go on with continuously because, hey, steak 4 or 5 times a week, it ain't good, bro. It ain't good for the results or anything. Unless your body can stick with it, I wouldn't encourage it. I eat a lot cleaner. I try to make sure it's just the fish and chicken. Ever so often, I'll sprinkle a little bit of turkey in there, and then I'll also touch base with fish. It's fish, turkey, and chicken. So I got my flame a little high right now. That was just to kind of get the pot heated, but I'm gonna bring it back down as the food's cooked. All right, cool. So we got this all taken care of. I have my chicken down. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the seasonings on it. Nothing special, you know, whoopie whoop. We're gonna do it like this. I'm not a big salt fanatic. Some of these, like this is a salt-free seasoning. Some of the seasons contain, some don't contain. Completely up to you which route you want to take. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more because we got Kai that really likes his food seasoned well. So I'm gonna make sure he's not missing a beat when it comes down to it. So I have this cooking, right? In a second, I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna kind of get it going, but I want to get my beans going. I'm gonna show y'all the beans. It's not particularly for me, right? I have my own goals right now going on. What I want to do is I want to give you an idea. If you were to choose the route of having beans, I want to make sure you know and understand that if you have them, you could do it, but you got to moderate the amount that actually comes in, all right? I'm not saying to stay away from it entirely. I'm just saying if you're going to have it, moderate the amount, all right? Make sure it's taken in moderation. That's usually key when you're trying to be successful in this journey. All right, so we got this cooking. Let me bring the flame a little lower. All right, so check this out. Okay. It's going to be a bourbon day for those who want to know, right? So we have, yeah. So we have, I'm not particular about the brand, but I'm rolling with this right now. It's by Bush. And it's brown sugar. So y'all already know that's a little punch right there if you were focusing on reducing body fat, right? Because that brown sugar really gets you. Now, not only does it have sugar, but it also has carbohydrates. If you were kind of thinking to yourself, like, hey, I really want to go along the lines of like low carb, then again, you can still have the beans, but you're just gonna find yourself having a very, very small amount because the carbs end up being so much on the higher end. So this is the beans that I'm working with. I'm gonna show you how I make it. Nothing special. All right. This is the sauce I'm gonna dress the chicken with. This is a honey bourbon with clove and chipotle pepper and garlic. So let's go. I'm sure everybody should probably might like this, but I never used it before. We'll see. I usually have to make a separate chicken for Kai and then see if he'll like the sauce. And if he doesn't, then we always have a backup. All right. So cool, I got this going. Let me go ahead and get this the separate. I don't want your chicken to stick. Usually that won't happen as long as you kind of keep it moving inside the pot. I'll keep it on a lower flame. What the lower flame usually creates is more moisture than actually drying up your chicken. So the low flame, as it creates the moisture, it'll kind of almost end up like a little bit of a gravy, but it's not really gravy, but it's that saturation you need in order to keep your chicken nice and soft. I'm over here talking like a chef. I just did this for bodybuilding, man, and it worked out, you know? All right, so that works. One of these days, I'm gonna show y'all what I got in my fridge. We'll do a whole show just looking at the stuff in my fridge. And it ain't, I want y'all to see it just for the simple fact that I have kids and I have a lot of other options that I could actually, you know, dive into. But I just don't. But it is difficult. When you looking right at them donuts, looking right at for the rice cakes, that's like 15 calories. Yeah, it's not easy. All right, so let's keep this moving. As far as the beans, give me a second. That's Dad's jump rope. Yeah, it's Dad and Mommy's jump rope. So check this out. Real simple, right? We're gonna get the pot. So I got my chicken still on the flame or whatever. At this point, it's about halfway. All right, so we now sitting at like 5. What I'm gonna do over here, let me turn this up. So I'm gonna just get some heat. I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't really know any other way to make beans. All I do is heat it up for the most part. So it's not really all that complicated. I don't add seasonings to it. I open up the beans, I drop it in the pot, and I give it a few minutes. Usually it'll boil a little bit, and then I just kind of like leave it with that. Some people I know they add seasonings and different things to it. Man, you do you.
I try to make it as simple and as fast as possible. So give me a second. Let me grab this can opener. And you know how it is. These things just, the kids be getting all in the drawers and just taking the stuff. Babe, you seen the can opener? It's like, what is the can opener? It's like one of the kids, they come, I don't know what it is. They like can openers and stuff. They come in the drawers and they try and get anything. Did anybody see the can opener? It's probably in front of my face and I'm just not looking. I know it is. Watch, wifey gonna come in with the little, it's right there. It's right there. Babe, I can't find this can opener. Did one of the kids grab it or something? Bro, where's my can opener? There's like 3 places you can look, but what happens when it's not there? Oh, boom, you see? Where the can opener is where it's not supposed to be. You know, put it. Chicken is still going. We got the beans ready to start brewing. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Nothing complicated. All right, we're gonna grab this, open it up. So I got the pot heating up. So usually before I put the beans in, most likely the pot is already hot. So it's ready to go. I'm gonna drop it in. All right, cool. So again, I'm not a big fan of the beans right now with the goals that I have set. All right, I'm not a big fan of the beans, but if I were to have it, I would make sure I take it in a moderate amount. Nothing serious, nothing, crazy. All right, cool. So this will sit for a little bit. And we about to drop the bourbon sauce on the chicken in a second. Let me show you how that's done. It's just the usual. The kids turned up. They just got home from school. So let's see what we got. Chicken is looking nice. The beans on point. So I'm gonna show y'all my rice cooker. So I'll show you how I do the rice. All right, so with the rice cooker, it's like this. I mean, I used to cook rice the old school way, where I would put, my moms would tell me it's like 1 cup of rice for 2 cups of water. So 2 cups of rice for 4 cups of water, 4 cups of rice for 8 cups of water. That's the little lingo that she would give me. That's what I would run with. And I would do the whole joint with the pot and all that stuff. Little rice cookers and how they really work. They're real simple, bro. What you end up doing is you follow the same procedure, but it's really hit the button and walk away, which I really like. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, listen, I don't know if I want to be like standing around waiting for the rice to be done properly and all this, that, and the third. I just want to put it on, leave it, and then go. Just boom, keep it moving. So what we have right here, rice cooker is lit, bro. It could be a little bigger, but maybe if the fan was bigger, it'll be a necessity. Right now, this is just what we work with. So the way that it's done, let me go ahead and grab the little cooker pot. Kai, you want to cook? A little cook right there. Let's go. So this is the pot that I use with. This is how I do it. You got the rice. Is the rice here? Yeah. This bag, right?
Oh, wait.
This is what we're working with. Arroz bomba. Let's go. So I'm gonna show you how this is done. Ice with the beans. Look like they about ready. I'm gonna hit the off and that. I brought these real fast to show y'all what wifey likes to eat. It's these rice cakes. So I like them too. Just so you see. I like them. The only thing is you'll find that they're filling, but only for so long. It gets really like, you'll eat them and then like 30 minutes later, you're like, this is not gonna work. So I got the beans, I got the chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rice. So you see what's going on here. How do you open this? You just pull it.
I don't know the instructions. I think so. I don't remember. Yeah, it's just the threads.
Yeah, because I was ready to cut it open.
No, let me see.
I think you cut it.
Yeah.
Skirt. Yeah.
Yeah, you just make a little hole. I don't have one. I can be a straw.
Okay.
All right, so let's go. So I'm gonna do the rice measurement just as I described.
I think.
We're gonna do the 1 cup.
Yeah, that's better, Mommy.
All right, cool. So we got the 1 cup measured out. And like I said, I'm not doing anything with the rice like that. I'm in a process of reducing body fat. So I'm actually not all that in. I'm not all the way in with the rice. I'm not all the way in with the beans. These are for the kids. So if y'all have goals that are similar to mine, don't tell them I sent you and told you to have rice and beans, expecting to knock off body fat. So what I'm doing back here, which y'all can't see, I just did a cup of rice, and I'm gonna do 2 cups of water. All right, so I just did a cup of rice, 2 cups of water. I'm gonna drop it in here like this. I'm gonna show you how simple this is. So it's already plugged in. I'm gonna drop it in like this. Boom, I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna turn the power on. I'm gonna hit white rice, and we good. All it's gonna do is start the cooking process. When the cooking process is actually done, it'll beep and alert me, let me know, yo, come get your rice, and then we good. It's as simple as that. Whereas before, I remember I used to burn my rice. I used to have the water overflow on the pot and stuff like that back in like my bodybuilding days. And like I said, I ran into wifey. She introduced me to this, and this is all I could ever run with from here on. I couldn't go back to the old ways. So this is it. I'm gonna probably walk away from all of this because we, for the most part, kind of dived into every food ingredient and seeing kind of what's really going on. We have the beans over here, which I said, again, good source of protein, but also might be too much carbohydrates if you were looking to actually reduce weight. If you're looking to build muscle, definitely feel free to dive in. I mean, go in on the beans. It's a great source of both carbs and protein. These happen to be some sugar bourbon, extra great goodie type of beans that the kids really like. So only go this route if you probably have a cheat day or something like that lined up. The chicken route, the most that I said about it, protein. That's the idea that you want to keep in mind if you want to make your meals balanced. All right, if you want to make your meals balanced, it must contain protein, fat, carbs,
everything must be included. All right. So now that y'all see the food, the only thing that I'm just gonna tell you that I'm gonna do without doing it right now, because the chicken is still kind of cooking. We're gonna bring the flames a little lower. What I'm gonna do eventually is I'm gonna sprinkle some of this inside. The honey bird. Go. I'm gonna bit with the sauce, and then we'll have the honey bourbon chicken. We'll have the beans, and then we'll have the rice right alongside. This is definite go-tos for the kids. I mean, they love it. It's much better than the little McDonald's joints that they try to convince me to pull up to. You know what I mean? So let's actually get back over here and get back into the video. So for those that have come out and wanted to check out my cooking segment, a lot of people have given me a lot of compliments on this side of what I'm trying to do, and they want to go more with it. You want to be in a video? I'm actually going to take the video right here. You want to grab a chair? If you grab a chair and sit right here with me, we're gonna finish up the segment. So I got the food cooking. We good. The rice will be done in a second. Okay. All right, cool. You want to sit?
Yeah.
All right. So this channel, this is a different channel. This is not politics. This is health. So on this channel, we talk about muscles. We talk about working out. We talk about different exercises. And what we're going to get into now is we're going to talk about a vitamin. All right. So when you eat, inside the foods, it contains vitamins and minerals. All right. Things that your body needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about vitamin A. All right. So vitamin A, let's get this going. So vitamin A, so it says there are 6 important health benefits of vitamin A. It protects your eyes from night blindness and age-related decline, may lower your risk of certain cancers, supports a healthy immune system, reduces your risk of acne, supports bone health, promotes healthy growth and reproduction. All right, so that's just giving you an idea of vitamin A. I told y'all the way that I want to set this up. I want to make sure I actually tap in and I give y'all vitamins of the day, and we need to learn about them, the pros, the cons, the benefits, and stuff like that. In this case, for the most part, on vitamin side, I don't really think there's a con necessarily. It's just what's going on? You on the screen.
You.
All right, so for the most part, give me 1 second, Kai, and I'll let you talk to the people. So for the most part, when we consider vitamin A, those are the benefits that you would think about actually having your body take on if you actually were to include or have this vitamin in your normal eating regimen. If you decide to supplement it, all right, that is one thing. My advice is always to take in your vitamins in its most natural form. So what I want to do is I want to type in, let's find out what foods contain vitamin A so we could actually know what foods to target if we decide to go the most natural route. So vitamin A foods. And this is how I want y'all to go about your normal daily activities as you carry out your day. Type in Google what you need to know. Figure it all out. It's not that difficult. All right, so it says here the top food sources of vitamin A in the U.S. diet include dairy products, liver, fish, and fortified cereals. The top sources of provitamin A include carrots. All right, I lost my train of thought. Fortified. The top sources of provitamin A include carrots, broccoli, cantaloupe, and squash. All right, so it's as simple as that. You have your go-tos, your foods. I would advise going that route outside of just finding a pill and trying to pop a pill. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I mean, if that's your only source, let's say you're allergic to these foods, let's say they just don't go down well, whatever the case may be, if you need to supplement the vitamin through a pill or some outside man-made way, feel free to do so. But the advice that I would give is find it in its most natural source, which will most likely be the foods. All right, keeping it moving.
We're gonna move on from vitamin A, and we're gonna talk about protein shake. So when it comes down to protein shake, the way that you actually will look at it, it's like this. I said it before in the past. The protein shakes are meant to be used as either one, it could be used as a meal replacement, or it could be used as an aid, something to actually help you out if you end up running a little short in the area of protein. So in most cases, protein shakes usually have a massive amount of protein, far more than what you would normally see. Let's say in a cup of milk, or let's say in even a couple ounces of chicken. The protein shakes are usually packing a lot. All right. For the most part, when you actually do one scoop of my protein shake, it ends up having 22 grams of protein. That's a punch, because you can squeeze the 22 grams in anywhere between 4 to 6 ounces of water. All right. That's easily done. Something that I do on a day-to-day basis. So you could pack in a lot of protein in your diet through the protein shakes, if need be. I would advise taking in your protein shakes as a meal replacement if need be, or you could actually take in the protein shakes on top of your food, just like I do with my salads. You'll find that I usually will have a salad, and I might even eat a protein shake along with the salad. No chicken, no fish, no boiled eggs, just a salad and protein shake. So I clearly get my carbs, my fat, and my protein. All good sources. That could always be a route that you go down, okay? So the only thing that I would say about a protein shake as far as cons, the taste happens to be different. The one thing that I always mention to everybody is fiber, how it goes down. That's a very important thing to know. So if you happen to notice that when you take in your protein shakes, it doesn't go down very well, or you find yourself to be constipated, explore different routes of protein shakes and find the one that best fits you. Can y'all stop fighting?
I'm gonna be here.
Kyle, where do you come from? You were over there. Well, who was in this chair originally?
Me?
Y'all flipping it around on me. Look, I'm gonna keep it moving. I don't want this to get too long. Listen, we finished up protein shakes. We finished the vitamin of the day. I think the food is almost about to be done. So we're done there. The last thing I want to touch on is something that somebody mentioned. Adish. Adish said, conservative guy cooking channel, LOL. My guy is an all-arounder. Dorothy Perez says, I remember those days when my babies were little. That part. Hello, everyone. 20 reps is good with moderate weight. Yep. All right, so a little earlier in the stream, Adish Singh asked if they can't do push-ups, if this particular person can't do push-ups, do I have any tips? So the biggest thing before I get into it, because I'm gonna actually get out there on the floor and show y'all, the biggest thing that I would say is the same advice that I gave earlier. Wherever you are currently is the foundation that you need to consider, all right? If you can only go a quarter of the way down, if you can only do one push-up, these are all things that you would want to take into consideration, and all you want to do is push past those points every time in the future when you attempt to make your push-ups happen, all right? So I'm gonna give y'all a modified version of push-ups, and I'm gonna also give you the advanced version. After you see these two versions, you be the decider of how many you want to do, how far down you want to go, and how much you actually want to attempt. All right, so in order to make this happen, we got to get out here to the floor. Guys, I'm gonna need to get out here. We got to show them how to do push-ups.
Well, no.
You guys know how to do push-ups?
I know. What do you do?
Oh yeah, you know how to do push-ups? All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to. Oh, do you want to be in the? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you in.
Do that.
Because you're kind of in my. This is the.
This.
Yeah, no, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna set it. Yeah, nah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you right here. I'm gonna do it right here. All right, so cool. So I think let me actually back up. See if I have. See if you can see.
Yeah.
All right.
Just go ahead and
So-
try.
So I think you could grasp what I'm trying to do for the most part. Hold on, let me see if I could drop it down a little bit.
Better.
God.
God, we can't see you.
All right, cool. So this is at least for the most part, the best I could do without the space. So you can't actually see my hands placement, how it is, but you can kind of get a gist of it. So for the most part, what's gonna happen is you're gonna wanna take your hand and place it down. Now I'm gonna talk about the modified version first, all right? Modified, what you wanna do is your legs, just keep them together. Looks kind of like this, side angle looks like that. Some people like to cross it, all right? I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna put it right behind me, just like how you see here. My hands are placed down in front, right up under my shoulders. What I'm gonna do from here is I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna push back up, just like this. So I'm gonna drop down and come back up. Now, this is something you probably do every day when you wake up out of the bed. So if you're telling me that this is not able to be done, definitely consider how you get up out the bed, and you might wanna, reconsider that train of thought. If it is the case that you really cannot do a full push-up exactly from this position, then feel free to just go a quarter of the way. I see it all the time. All right, if you can only get down this much, that's completely fine. It's not a real big deal. All right, now let's get into the real way of doing the push-ups. Feet are actually gonna go straight out. All right, you're usually side by side, just like this. I'm in a plank position. From here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop down. Come on, God, in the way. So what I'm gonna do here is I have my hands right up under the shoulders, and I'm gonna drop down and press up. Drop down and press up. So as far as variations go, I saw that happened to be another question that someone asked. They asked about variations in push-ups. The most that I would tell you to do, Kai, can you step out the way? The most I would tell you to do is just to change your hand placement. All right, it's something kind of hard for me to show you here because I'm in a limited space. But what would end up being the case is either you place your hands closer to your body, or you can place your hands further out. What's going to happen is as they get closer, you work more tricep, and you also stimulate the muscle fibers inside of the pectoral muscles by you having a more closer range. If you go further out, what happens when you go further out is you work more of the muscle fibers, and it takes more of the stress off of the tricep, which is key when it comes down to it. All right. So the variations could be completely up to you. You can either go with the hands inside or you can go with the hands outside. All right. That's basically how I would do it. If you're not familiar or not able to do push-ups, roll with the modified version, with your legs either crossed or have your legs together. All right. It is what it is, man. Let me get up off this one. I see we have a lot of kids and everybody trying to get lit on the stream. But y'all know what it is, man. I'm gonna get ready to get up off this one. We done with it all. We did the cooking. We did the exercise of the day. And then push-ups. The last bomb that I'm gonna drop on you is the benefits. The benefits is gonna be to build the chest. Also gonna work the front deltoid. It's gonna work your arms. It'll also stimulate your triceps back here. If you're not familiar with what the triceps are exactly. It's been said that it'll also help with the abdominals to a degree. Why? Because you have to involve the core in order to do any exercise. So the more you tighten up your core and engage in what you're trying to do, the more benefits you'll actually gain from the exercise. Thank you so much for everybody for coming out. I'm gonna have to go ahead and close on this one. Thank you for everybody for bearing with me with the kids and all that, the noise and the extra. I'm gonna usually try to make sure that my streams end up at an earlier hour so I don't have to really deal with all the extra. All right, it is what it is. Thank y'all for coming out. Y'all know, conservative guy. I'm out.
I don't know.